Hey guys, X-Angel here. What's up? Today we are talking about Destiny Item Manager. Now, I don't know, some of you may not be familiar with it. Maybe you've heard of it, just don't use it. Which case, what are you even doing with your life? We can't be friends. I'm just kidding. Seriously. So, we're going to dive into this. If you're not familiar with it, you can go to its website, just Google it, DIM or Destiny Item Manager. You can either pull it up on the web page, you can download the app on your phone, you can download the app for your PC. I highly encourage you to check this out because this thing is amazing. So what you want to do, go ahead and pull it up. You'll have to sign in through Bungie. And it has so many amazing features. Right off the bat, I've got it opened up here. I've got my characters pulled up. It's got some basic features that you're going to find in a lot of other apps, like the Destiny Companion app, maybe Ishtar Commander, a bunch of other ones that are on the market. But this one has a lot more features. Now, I kind of passed over this for a while because I didn't realize what it was fully capable of until I got to messing around with it. And it's simplified my life as far as loadouts, min-max builds, and just, playing Destiny as a whole. So real quick, as I've got it pulled up here, one of the features that you can notice right off the bat is up here at the top, under your characters, it has a gear score. This helps you, like right now I'm maxed out on my characters, but say you're beginning a season, you're trying to power grind, you're trying to level your character up as quickly as possible. And what a lot of people start running into is when they're trying to collect their powerful engrams and their pinnacle engrams and trying to figure out how they should be leveling up. Now, there's something called the +8 rule. Now, this could be an entirely other video itself, and some people have put out videos about the +8 rule. So I'm not going to dive too deep into that. Essentially, what you've got is it's giving you your gear score, and over here at the end, it's going to tell you, out of an 8-piece gear score, it's going to tell you how many more pieces of gear you need to get to that next power level. So it's going to help you determine, should you be chasing your next powerful engram? Should you be chasing your next pinnacle engram? So that you don't run into these situations where you've got a piece of gear that's really high, and then you go and you immediately chase another powerful or something, and then that powerful drops in the same slot as that gear that's really high, and you ended up just wasting a powerful or pinnacle. So this line up here, and again, when you start a new season, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about, because it's going to break down. It'll have your score, and then it'll have a little fraction number at the end of it that's just telling you how close you are to that next power level. So right off the bat, that's helping you as far as your power grind and be as efficient as you possibly can with collecting your engrams. Another feature that you have here, and again, this is more of a basic feature, but you can collect your postmaster items right here from the app. So that'll drop whatever you have in the postmaster right into your inventory. So that's pretty cool, but that's that's a pretty basic feature on a lot of these apps. And again, another basic feature is just being able to move gear between your characters. You can pull stuff out of the vault, put it onto a character real quickly. You can, and again, you can do this on your phone or tablet or whatever you have, a laptop if you have it up on that. But again, you can swap items between your character really quickly. So again, another basic feature. Something else you can do in here is create custom loadouts. Now I'm going to show real quickly in this screen, because there's another screen that we're going to touch on in a minute, creating loadouts. But just from this screen right here, let's say, for example, you have specific weapons that are usually your go-to weapons that you like to use. And every time you have to swap characters, you have to individually move those weapons around. What you can do is you can go here, and you can see here I've already got some loadouts built. But you can go to your character, you can click on Create Loadout, and if you just want to build a loadout just of the weapons that you like to use, you can go down here, pick on kinetic, and then you can scroll through, figure out which kinetic weapon you want. Let's say we'll put that one there. And then you can come over to your energy weapon, do the same thing. Let's just throw that on there. And then, of course, the same for your power weapon. Now you can continue on and do a loadout with your armor sets as well, But if you're just specifically wanting to do your weapon loadout, you can do that. Put in your loadout name here, save it, and so then you'll have that on your characters. So whenever you swap characters, you just click that weapon loadout, and there it's going to be. Now this is where all of your loadouts are going to be saved. So whenever you swap to a character, you come here. You can name it whatever you want, whatever makes the most sense to you, and then you just click that, and it's going to automatically equip all of those items to your character. Something else that you can do with it, if you feel like it, is you can come over here, and there's what they have called farming mode. So, if you're running around the world and you're trying to farm for specific weapons or items or what have you, you can just click this, and what that's going to do is it's going to remove everything from your inventory that isn't already equipped. So you just, maximize the amount of space so that you have all of that space freed up that you can go and farm without having, empty that inventory space out every couple of items. Now here's one of the cooler features that is provided with DIM, and this is really what got me hooked on this thing. For the longest time, I would collect gear and I'm trying to build loadouts around specific stats. I would spend hours digging through my vault, looking at different pieces of armor and trying to figure out which stats were gonna sync up the best with what I already had, or which ones were gonna help me have the best overall loadout. And that took a lot of damn time until I figured out that this was available in DIM. What they have is called up here the Loadout Optimizer. Now if you click on Loadout Optimizer, it's gonna right off the bat, it's just gonna throw together a bunch of items that it's telling you has the highest stat. But what you can do here, and this is what's really cool and really helps out with doing your loadouts and doing your build, is you can prioritize your preferred stats. So over here, for example, you can see where it's listed all of your stats. Let's say I'm working with my hunter here, and when I'm working on my hunter, I generally like to prioritize mobility, discipline, recovery. That's generally the stats I look for on my hunter. So what we can do is we can go ahead and ignore all of the stats that we're not really focusing on. Okay, and as I'm doing that, it's changing all the gear, all the loadout here. So right now I'd prioritize, and you can also swap. Like I've ignored these, but you can also move around which ones are the most important. So right now I've got mobility the highest. I can move discipline up here. It makes a couple of changes, but I like to have mobility first, discipline, and then recovery. So this is what it's built for me right now. I've got 10 mobility, 10 discipline, 3 recovery, and it's just throwing some stuff together. There's no exotics, anything like that. Further on, you can come down here, and if you're, you've got, obviously you're going to have a specific exotic that you're trying to make your loadout around. So what we can do here is we can go ahead and click select exotic. I'm going to go ahead and throw on Star Eater scales. So now it has built me a loadout here. I've got the Star Eater scales, and it's got, as you scroll down, you're going to see all the different options that it has built around Star Eater scales. What you can also do is you can go ahead and pick specific mods that you want to have included in your build. So a mod specifically on my hunter that I run a lot is Powerful Friends. So let's go ahead, we can just type that into the search. There it is, Powerful Friends, select mod. So now that has slotted this mod into our build. So now I'm setting at 10 mobility, 9 discipline, 5 recovery. Again, you've got other options down here because some of your builds are going to change depending on all of the mods that you want to use, because it's certain mods are only going to be available on certain element types of armor. So it's something to look at. If it starts pulling up items that are not masterworked, then you can kind of think about, do I need a solar piece? Do I need an arc piece? And you can start looking at those options. And you can change it, like this piece down here. If I needed that to be a different element type, then before I masterwork that, I can go ahead and change it to whatever I need to suit the build that I'm trying to make. Another cool function that you can use while you're making your loadout is you have what's called pinning items. So if there's a specific piece that you want to go ahead and keep in your loadout and change the other items, you can go over here to pin item. That will allow you to select a specific piece, and let's just randomly, I think this is the same piece as that right there. Let's pin that. So now through all of my choices, as I scroll down, this item will always be selected. Now I can go ahead and unlock that, and then again it's going to slot other pieces back in there. Another pinning option that you can do is pin equipped. Now pin equipped is going to pin everything that you currently have equipped. Now these are all items that I currently do have equipped on my character. It's going to pin everything that you have equipped, and then as you want to individually start changing out items, you can just start selecting different pieces, and now it's going to start showing different options for the chest piece. You know, you can just start unlocking them, and it's going to give you more options as you go along. Another option that you can use is to exclude item. That's going to be right here. If there's a specific item that you just do not, for whatever reason, want to use in your build, you can just pick it out of your entire list here, and it will just absolutely exclude that. You won't have to worry about it. It's not going to show up in any of the options. So another cool function that is provided with DIM is your custom total. Being able to come up with a custom total. I'm going to show you what that means here in just a minute. And this is helpful again with doing your builds. This is also really useful for going through your vault and trying to figure out which pieces of armor you need to keep and which ones you need to get rid of. Me personally, I have way more armor pieces in my vault than I do weapons, because I come across a piece and it's got a couple of spiky stats and I think, all right, that might come in handy later. I throw it in the vault. It might be months before I look at it. You know, or especially before a new season, you start going to your vault to make space. What do you keep? What do you get rid of? So this is going to help out a lot. Not only with cleaning out your vault, but also with looking for different options for builds. So for custom totals, what you want to do is you want to come over here to this gear box, click that. You're going to come down here, and you have this section here called custom total. Now you can change this for each character. Like I told you before, on my hunter, I prefer mobility, recovery, discipline. Now you're able to select these. You're able to select it based on one stat, two stats, three stats, however many, or whatever combination of them in what order. See, on my Titan, it's built around recovery, discipline, and intellect. Same with my Warlock. So what this does, when you inspect a piece of gear, it's going to show what your custom total is for just those specific stats. So let me go back into inventory and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. When I pull up this piece of gear, this one has, right here it's got your total, which is 64, which is pretty high, you know, for a piece of armor, 64. However, for my personal custom total, it's only got a custom total of 20. So between my mobility, which is 2, recovery of 16, discipline of 2. So even though it's a 64 stat, it really doesn't have the stats that I'm looking for. So what you can do also is while you're here, when you have your armor pulled up, let's say you're doing a nightfall or something and you drop a new piece of gear and you want to know, you know, what should I do with this? Should I keep it, scrap it, whatever? You can go ahead and pull up this little option here, which is basically your compare. And what that does is it pulls this up and you have options here where you can compare it among other items of the same name, other items of the same element. So if I click this, it brings up all leg items of the same element. But what I like to do is I like to go ahead and just check it against all of the leg pieces. And then you can come down here, click on the custom total, and it's going to prioritize it according to which ones have the highest custom total. So right now in my inventory, my highest custom total for a leg piece is 52. That's 52 stat just for those 3 stat specific stats. That's not the entire piece. Like the entire piece on that is 62. Up here you also have the option for, it says show base stats. If I turn that off, this is going to include masterwork stats. It's going to include mods, all of that. I like to turn that off just so I can see the base stat, how it compares with nothing on it. So I turn that off. And then something else you can do if you're just wanting to compare against other legendaries, you can go ahead and start removing all of the exotics that pop up so that you're just strictly comparing it against other legendaries. Now, that one piece that I was looking at, let's see if I can find it in here because it was pretty low. Right here. So the piece that I pulled up that I was looking at, when you do the compare option, it's going to be highlighted in orange. So that piece is like almost just about the worst piece as far as the custom totals. Could possibly be useful if I wanted to go with a different stat combo. I'd have to go back and look at it, see if I even wanted to consider that. But if you're pretty locked in on which stats you like, you can do that. And let's try another piece here. Let's compare that to other chest armor by custom total. Now there are actually two other pieces, one that is tied for the custom total of that piece and another one that is 1 point higher. Something else that you can use this custom total function for is, say like this is an arc piece, right? If I have another piece that is pretty close to that same custom total, like the distribution may be different, but the entire custom total is relatively the same. That allows me to see which other pieces I can go ahead and masterwork as a different element type. Because as you're starting to get more gear acquired and you're starting to get better at your loadouts, you're going to start running into the problem of, well, I want to use this mod. Well, I can't because it's, needs a different element type. So what you start wanting to do is you want to start having alternate pieces of different element types. So this will allow you to look at these pieces and see that they're very similar, so you can go ahead and start masterworking pieces in different element types, which is super useful when you're wanting to start doing different types of builds. Or if you're wanting to run especially on chest pieces, because if you're wanting to run, say, a Master or Grandmaster Nightfall, and you need that, a specific elemental protection. Well, if you only got like one Masterwork chest piece and it's an arc piece and you're taking solar burn, you're going to be hurting. So you might want to have alternate pieces of different element types that you can use to protect against elemental damage, as well as just being able to swap pieces around so that you can have different builds, use different mods. So that's what you can do there as far as figuring out, which pieces you want to keep, So like, again, these are some of my top pieces right here. You go down way to the end of the list, and I've got pieces with custom total of 6, 15, 26. So especially when it's time for you to start going through your vault, determining which pieces you want to keep and which ones you want to get rid of, this is going to help you, because real quick, you can just look at it and see, hey, those stats, those are the stats I want. That's really high. I'm going to keep those. Personally, I try to really keep the ones between 45 and the upper 50s, and if it's all you got, then that's all you got to work with. There's, no problem. But as you start acquiring better and better gear, you're going to start letting some of this other stuff go. A few months back, I started going through my vault, and I was seeing all these pieces I had masterworked, and I'm like, oh my God, this is absolute garbage. So a bunch of pieces that I already masterworked, scrapped them, got shards from them, and so now I have a lot better pieces. Another quick tip we can take a look at here, since we are trying to optimize the builds, is we can take a look at this tab up here, vendors. Give that a second to load. When you've loaded this tab, and again, the point of going through a lot of this is trying to find the highest stats on armor that we can get. So where do we get this high stat armor? Obviously, a lot of that comes from certain activities like nightfalls, raids, dungeons, things like that. However, you can also go and see certain vendors that periodically will carry high stat armor. For example, right now, so I've gone into the vendors tab and I'm looking at Commander Zavala. You can actually see the armor pieces that he's offering that week, and you can pull them up and see which or what stats he has. That's a 54 piece. You can go down to say 801, look at all her armor pieces. Now that piece right there, look, that's a 60 total, 28 strength, 24 recovery. Now I don't generally run strength builds, but if that's something that you're looking forward to, then right there, that's a piece of armor from a vendor that you can just go and pick up. You can check out the inventory from all of your vendors without having to go and run around the map and spend a whole bunch of time visiting each of these vendors. This will save you a whole lot of time just being able to look, click through, see what they've got, and once you've got your custom totals selected, you can just see from the vendors right off the bat, is this a piece of armor that I'm going to want? So that's going to help you a lot with trying to find pieces of high stat armor that are going to fit into your builds and optimize your builds. So that's a basic rundown on a lot of the useful functions that are available through Destiny Item Manager. Now, I am by no means an expert on this. There's a whole search function up here that you can use. Play around with this just real quickly. Like if you're looking for specific items that are, just for a particular character, like if you're just looking for items for a Titan, you can type in is Titan, right? And it will highlight in your vault everything that is just for your Titan. Or let's say specific weapon type. Let's say is solar. Everything that is solar will highlight. Or let's say is hand cannon. I don't know if I've searched that before. There it is hand cannon. And that right there will highlight all of your hand cannons. So there's a lot of different features that even I'm still not familiar with yet. I'm still learning. But as far as just some of the basics and the stuff that is just the most useful to me and that I think would be very useful to you guys as well, this is a pretty good rundown, and so I hope you guys check it out. If you weren't familiar with it before, maybe you'll go give it a look, and this is definitely going to help you guys improve as far as maximizing your loadouts, being efficient with it, maximizing and being efficient with your vault space, and just taking a lot of the pain in the ass out of trying to figure out which pieces to keep and which ones you need for specific loadouts. It has made my life a lot easier as far as playing this game. It will do the same thing for you if you give it a chance. So go ahead, check it out. Appreciate you guys coming by to watch the video. Like and subscribe, and I will see you later.